Hello? How did you get this number? Don't you know he's listening? The 13. He's here.
You have entered the 13, a place where real stories about music, touring, and the beyond are told. Music does something to us. We all experience it in our own way. It can affect our senses, transport us through time, and release emotions. On this podcast, we will talk with people about the power of music and the beyond. What does the beyond mean? Let's find out together. Turn on your metronomes because this time is about to be tracked.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the 13. I'm your host, Ryan 13, and today we're joined by my good buddy, Ted Childers, and he's also a freaking author. I have a friend who's an author, and it's an author of a children's book called I'm a Little Otter. It's fantastic. I actually got a misprint. I'm really happy about it. I love it. And how are you doing, Ted? Welcome to the 13.
Good, brother. How are you?
Man, I'm doing okay. You know, it's a wonderful Saturday. You and I are going to jump on the Expanding Reality podcast tomorrow, and I'm excited for that. And just so everybody knows, we just kind of wanted to do a test, and I said, screw it, let's record it. So,
right. I had to turn some stuff off so you can see me, but
yeah, well, I could see, I could see it. It was fine. There was just a little glare from the awesome Razer neon you got back there.
Yeah, tomorrow it's going to have 13 under it. So,
yeah,
supporting Ryan.
Ryan 13, Razer 13. Let's do it. I love it. Thank you. So what inspired you to write a children's book? Because guys, a little background on Ted. You know, he's a fucking awesome human being, but the first thing I would think of if he was going to write something would not necessarily be a children's book.
No. The first question I get asked every single time, is it child appropriate?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. And then the second question is it spelled right?
Yeah. That's fantastic. So what inspired you to do it?
Okay, so the story behind the whole thing is we're on a boat, right? You've seen my boat.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
out to the lake. I live about a mile from the lake right here. And we have some friends that's always out with us, and I made this stupid little song up. That's actually on the last page of the book. Okay. And the song kind of turned into us making more than the song, and then it turned into a story, and then they were like, hey, you should write a book about it. So yeah. What's really going to be interesting is we talked about this a while back. I want to know what other people's version of the song is.
Yeah, because you sang it to me, and so now that's the version in my head. Like right. That's how I sing it when I read it. But yeah, it'd be interesting to hear other people cover it. You know, like even put music to it, grab a guitar, and
yeah, right.
And that's something you could do. You could like throw a contest out there or something. Be like, I just want to, whoever writes the cool. I don't know, but see, then here's anyway. Something. It'd just be cool to hear people's ideas, and you could put that out on the old interwebs.
Yeah, see, I've sold 51 copies as of today.
Oh, nice.
Which is not a lot.
No, that's better than anything I've ever sold.
Well, I have a goal in my head. First, to get paid back from doing it.
Sure.
And then second, to kind of see where it goes.
Yeah.
And the first goal was 50 copies.
Well, all right.
All right. So I made that yesterday, day before yesterday. I sold 50 copies. I was like super stoked. Oh shit, yeah. I sold 50 copies. I'm like halfway to my, ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And hit the first one and see where it goes. As long as I get paid back and, for the money that I invested in it. And then I took a long time doing it, the first one, because if you can see up here, this is the second book already done. That's the painting for it.
Awesome.
The book's already written. The lady already has a copy of it that does my artwork for that book.
Okay.
And
is it the same lady here?
Yes, Ilium.
Okay.
She's cool. She's from Pakistan. She is
awesome.
a single mother and does this stuff to feed her family.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome. Well, she's a great artist.
yeah, it's all computer animated stuff. I mean, she
That's
doesn't
cool.
actually paint it, but I don't care.
No, that's yeah, no, it's fantastic, dude. That's great.
What's crazy is I was looking for an artist, and for the original book, I'm a little otter, and I mean no disrespect for people in the United States by saying this, but she got it done in 3 days,
Oh wow.
and it was a couple of $100.
Yeah.
And she put that entire book together. Everything. She
Oh
put the
wow.
words where they go, the back cover, everything was her doing. She sent it to me like that.
Yeah, that's great. Wow.
I before I hired her, I talked to another guy, and this dude was like, "Yeah, I'll do your cover for it. It'll be $1,200 for the cover, and then we'll decide every other page inside it."
Wow.
I
That's
was like, no.
yeah, the guy who's redesigning the 13 logo, because the logo back here is
Mhm.
just the Razor 13 logo, because this was a temporary show. I was only going to do 5 episodes, so I just was like, I'll just use the Razor 13 logo. It's the Ryan 13 logo. Anyway, the guy who made that, he's making me a new one that's similar, but it's more personal to me. It's the Ryan 13 logo, the 13 logo, something that's not Razor 13. Anyway, he's a artist for a profession. That's what he does all the time. I've known him for 30 years. But anyway, he was like, all right, man, I've known you for a long time, so I don't want to like rape you. And I was like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. So, and we came to a deal, and he came to a really good deal, a bro deal, if you will. He was like, I charge so much more. I charge so much more for my art pieces than this. And I'm like, well, charge me what he's like, no, I'd feel bad. I'm like, well, good.
You know,
Because I'm
I
poor.
I never thought about it. I'm as a primary hobby, as you can see, I do
Yep,
art.
that's true.
And um, the book kind of came about as happenstance of the song. But I did this painting.
Okay.
Actually, it
Yeah.
was another painting almost exactly like it,
Okay.
and it wouldn't fit in the frame that I had, so I just redid the painting and trashed the other painting.
Okay. Wow.
So I paint on glass, which is super weird. I go to um, Goodwill and just buy crappy pictures at Goodwill with glass in it and a frame, and then I
Okay.
take the crappy picture out,
And you paint on it.
paint on the glass, and then I entered a few into a local art competition. This place called the Otter Center here for performance and fine arts here in Ardmore,
Yeah.
and I didn't make it in, and they wrote me I'm going to say crappy. They wrote me a letter back saying that my framing wasn't up to par for their standards, and I need to have more imagination.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and that painting is the one that I entered.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, go snooty tooty off on your own little foodie, dude. What the hell? I mean,
Yeah, but what he doesn't know is I've done 7 paintings. Carrie wanted to keep this one,
yeah.
and I've done 7 or 8 paintings so far, and I have sold every one of them.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
And I wouldn't have that one if she wouldn't have wanted to keep it because I had a buyer for that one too.
I love I love the idea of painting on glass. What and because well, you know what I do for a living. What kind of paint are you using?
Just an acrylic.
Just an acrylic? Oh, that's cool. Nothing fan. That goes on fine, and it doesn't smear any. I mean, I'm
Well,
sure it
the
does.
great thing about glass as a medium is if you hate it, you take a razor blade and just it's gone. Or go take it
Yeah.
to the kitchen sink and wash it off and start over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Okay.
if you if you mess up the head, you just erase it
Bye,
and it's
head.
done. And it's not like paper where you have to erase and erase and erase and erase
Yeah.
and it's still there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
painting on glass is that sounds like it's actually kind of a lot of fun. I kind of want to try it. I'm not much of a painter, even though I'm in the paint business, I guess you would say. But
Right.
I love to do creative things, especially new stuff. So maybe that'll give me something to do sometime soon.
Obviously, I do too.
Yeah, I know.
And it, it was kind of like a repurpose. Like I'm in um, Goodwill, which is where I buy all my stuff, I'm in Goodwill and I saw a painting and I was like, dude, I want to snatch that frame up in that piece of glass. And then,
Yeah.
you know, art, art stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
And if you screw something up on canvas and stuff, I mean, I had 15 of them in the back room that I never finished for some reason or another.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right on. Yeah. Canvas. Yeah. We have my wife's the painter of the family, and she's got a whole bunch of canvases just laying around because she doesn't do it anymore as much. She used to do it all the time. She's pretty good at it.
It's actually, it's a very weird deal where you have to be in the mood. And then I had people say, hey, I want this and I want this and I want this. And I'm like, now then it becomes a job. And I
Yeah.
really don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Kind of like not to pimp my book more than I need to, but
All the
um,
links for Ted's book will be in the description below.
yay. So I wrote the second book and contacted Amazon Pro, who's doing my publishing and stuff, and they were like, we want to talk about a 10-book deal, and I'm like, no. I mean, it doesn't get me anything, just
Yeah.
free like publishing part of it, but like I don't even care about that part. But then it
Yeah.
becomes a job and it's not fun, and then you have a deadline, and then you're stressed, and then it's not cool, and you're just whatever.
No, 100%. The other channel I have where I would do like, eat hot sauce, cook's corner, all that crap, that turned into for a while trying to put a video out every week for that 1 year turned into a job, and I hated it. And like Dawn hated it because if we did cook's corner, I'd have to have her come film it because I can't film it myself while I'm cooking. Right.
Right.
And I'd be like so stressed out. Like it'd be like, stop, quit recording. And I was kind of like a diva, like I needed to eat a Snickers bar or something. And here, eat a Snickers. Why? Because you're kind of acting like a diva, man. But it wasn't, and that's why there's not a lot coming out on that channel. I'll put out a hot sauce video once a month or something because that's what I enjoy doing. So I agree with you on that. If I had a deadline or something, I would hate it. I sometimes get stressed out about the podcast, but I realize that this is more therapy than it is. Um, it's not a job. It was just fun. I'm getting to talk to you and have a great time.
Right. And I could see you every week whether I talk to you or not because I watch your stuff, other stuff. And the branding guy, that's why I contacted you. I was like, dude, this dude is awesome. I'm about to freaking talk to him. And you were like, yeah, well, let's hook it up.
Yeah, it worked out. It just so happens that we're doing a thing, and his podcast, the one that we're going to do is for his expansive insiders. So that's the everyone out here will be able to see clips of it or whatever, but if you want to see the whole thing, you'll have to become an expansive insider, and that's a membership deal over at his thing. Him and I are talking about doing something together too, but that's another story. I just remembered that. It just popped in my head. Anyway, so yeah, Brandon Thomas from Expanding Reality. If you guys want, check this out. Here's a nice little graphic. You can go over to expansivereality.com, expandingreality.com. Let's get it right. And become an expansive insider. And there you can check out all the mind melting content that will most certainly melt your brain.
Or at the least, go to YouTube and subscribe to his channel.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There'll be links. All the links to Brandon's show will be in the bottom for show. All the links for Ted will be below for show. And Ted, so we talked about your book a little bit, but you have a theory that started out kind of as a joke about the weather in Ardmore and how it's controlled by the Noble Corporation or whatever. And I mean, I know it started out as a joke, but is it still a joke, or is it kind of turning into like, man, maybe there's something to this, or is it still just
it
fun?
did start out as a joke, kind of. Um, okay, so it did start out as a joke, but
Yeah.
I have said it so long, and I put it on Facebook every time the weather starts heading towards Ardmore and stuff. But
Yeah.
we never have really bad storms in Ardmore during business operations of this freaking scientific place called the Noah Foundation. Storms seem to come right up to the edge of Ardmore and break apart and go back together on the other side.
Yeah.
And it never fails. I start making fun of it, and then I'm like, look at your radar, and people start sending me messages on Facebook. Holy crap, dude! What the hell?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
happens that way in San Angelo too, sometimes. But it's only sometimes there. Like during that freeze, if you go back and watch my YouTube video where I've stuck in the hotel room for 8 days, I
Mhm.
posted a little screenshot of my radar or whatever. And I think you introduced me to my radar.
Yes.
But and but like on the third day or whatever, all this snow and ice is coming again, and we're like, oh god, here it comes, and it just goes right. It just open as it hits San Angelo, it just opens up and closes right on the other side of it. I was like, holy cow! And I've been in Ardmore when really bad storms have come, and yeah, they went around.
Yeah, it's super weird. So there is a drilling company called the Noble Drilling, and the parents of this company started Noble Foundation, which is a scientific agricultural, whatever you want to call it, outside of town here. They built a new part to the building 10, 15 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
And in the front of the part of this building, there are these three huge copper things that stretched 3 stories tall, and they built a building around it.
Weather
And
control.
the top of them goes outside. Like there's caps
Okay.
on the top of all three of them. And if you want to see this, you can type in Noble Foundation on Google Earth and go drive down the road, and you can see it.
Yeah.
And which got me interested, kind of to see. I watch a whole lot of conspiracy theory shows and stuff,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, there's that one that they have up in Alaska. If you've heard anything about that,
I don't know. Maybe.
it's called HARP.
Oh yes. Yep. Know what you're talking about.
Right. So that got me looking into it, and I kind of went down a stupid rabbit hole where I'm like, okay, how much static electricity would it take to dissipate clouds? And there's a formula for it.
Really?
Yes. So I was like, what the hell? But anyway,
There's this thing
it's a
called
joke still, but it's kind of freaky how coincidental it is.
yeah. Well, I've driven by there in real life just after you kind of started telling me about it, just to look at the building.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, there could be something to this. Like
And
I could totally see it.
it's not a building. I mean, it is a compound, and
It
across the
is. It is.
street they have their own hotel that's like 6 stories tall, back off in the woods, and they fly people, scientists from all over the world, into a private airport, and they stay in that hotel.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I
Ardmore.
mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, dude. You know what's interesting? What really ties what we're talking about, and not necessarily about the Noble Foundation, but I just thought of something. What really ties our conversation in together with the 13 is Razor 13 used to play the Tivoli all the time, like
Uh-huh.
that, like 13 years ago or whatever, longer than that. Like that's we lived it. We would every time we went out of our way to come up to Ardmore to play that show, and all the people that came to the shows, all the kids and like we had a ballad in one of our ballads. I mean, it was called Life Uncertain, and it's a slow song. Well, it picks up, it gets intense. There's a lot of passion in it, but it's still a ballad. And those kids were moshing to it.
Right.
I was like, yeah, Ardmore.
What's crazy is I didn't know you at that time,
Yeah.
but I worked for Budweiser,
Yep.
and I did all the on-premise work, which consisted of doing all the concerts and venues and bars and restaurants and special events and all that stuff. Yes, and know I did not know that you played there until we had a conversation several years later. But I've done probably every one of your concerts that Budweiser has to do with Lance and the Temple.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, you're probably right. And you went around Dallas and stuff too. We played around Dallas all the time. Fort
Mhm.
Worth. We were all over that. We played. If there's a biker festival, man, there was a biker festival in somewhere outside of Sulphur or something. You know the guys that ride around with the yellow vests on their motorcycles. They're like Christian bikers. I don't know what
Mhm.
the name of the thing is. Those guys. Well, the we played with the band called Soldier, spelled Soul.
which is
J-U-R.
another crazy coincidence because the guy that played the guitar in that works for where we work now.
Really?
Yes,
Uh,
Danny McClendon worked for Dragon. He's the one that trained me on my job when I first started here.
wow. What a small world.
I know it's crazy.
And so we went and played a biker festival with those guys up there. Man, they were so cool. One of the guitar players, I was like, okay, whatever religion you want to believe in, fucking badass, awesome, do it. But I'm just expecting like Christian bikers. This doesn't sound like it's going to be fun. Guitar player greets us as we're pulling in with the band van. He reaches in the back of his truck. He's like, "Welcome, motherfuckers! Fucking praise Jesus, motherfucker!" And throws us beer. And I was like, "Okay,
Yes,
I can get behind this guy." Like, they were a cool band, man. They were a good band too. I don't know whatever happened. Um,
he's good people. He has, I mean, has a family and stuff, and has a real job now. Ta-da!
yeah, yay.
Yay!
Yeah,
Not really.
there, who's the bass player? Was the bass player? I know who the bass player was. I can see his face. I can see his girlfriend's face. I'm friends with him on Facebook. Dang it! Why can't I think of his name? Sorry, dude, if you're watching. Like, I know we're friends on Facebook. I'm just having a Saturday. But yeah, dude. So anyway, Ardmore is great. It's a great town. It's gotten so much bigger in the last decade. Like, you guys got stuff
Has
now.
it what?
I said you guys got stuff now. Like,
Yeah, and we're fixing to have the first hydrogen plant that's supplying fuel to SpaceX, like
really?
3 miles from my house.
Really? You got a
Yep.
space? The plant is going to be the plant for SpaceX. The plant for the hydrogen for SpaceX is going to be 3 miles from your house.
Yep.
Now, why did they choose Ardmore? Is there a particular reason?
Because I'm here. No, I mean, honestly, I don't have a fucking clue. I mean, they're a company called Woodbine Energy, I think, or something like that, out of Australia.
Okay.
And yeah, they picked Ardmore of all places to set up. I mean, I-35 is halfway from Oklahoma City to Dallas, and you can
Yeah,
get anywhere from here. So
that's true.
central U.S.
Yeah, right on. So, you're next to Old Lake Murray, is that right?
Yeah, like literally a mile.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I've been. We went out to the lake when I came to your house the last time. So I always find, like, I'm near Lake Houston,
Mhm.
and I always find that if there's going to be some type of UFO activity, it's near water, lakes, the ocean, whatever. Have you seen anything in your crazy journeys on Lake Murray at nighttime that would just not maybe not not an alien spaceship or anything, but just something like, I
Something
don't
you
know
couldn't
what that
explain.
was?
No,
Yeah, no.
not on Lake Murray, but as you know, I'm not from Oklahoma. I mean, I
Right.
was born right down the road, but I'm not from here. I've pretty much lived everywhere,
Yeah.
and I would say that I probably have, without sounding like one of the crazy UFO people, I I think I've seen some stuff that you probably could not explain, and nobody can explain it to me to this day.
Yeah. Do you
Um,
want to indulge us a little?
Mainly in places like Montana and
Big
up in
sky
that
country.
area. Yeah,
Yeah.
big sky country, way the hell in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Um, and to me, if you're going to go looking for people, why not there? I mean, it's not like they're going to land in the middle of the city. They're going to, come test the waters out first.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So one time we were driving, and I think I was between Salt Lake City, Utah, and probably North Dakota in that stretch of nowhere. And there was this weird cloud ish shape in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 days it never moved.
Really?
Yep. And we kept pointing at it. I was like, dude, it's back. What the crap is that? And
Still
my dad
there.
he's like, I don't know. It's a cloud. I'm like, clouds move.
Yeah.
Over time they dissipate or something. And no, it just kind of hung out and stayed in the exact same spot and
Weird.
never once moved and never changed shape and just kind of stayed there.
Weird.
Um,
It's like It's not like the clouds they got over there over that train wreck where they're burning off all the fuel and
Well, no, no, not like that. And and I have my theories about why they're doing that. It may differ from everybody else's. Oh my gosh, it's gonna rain down, but
right. Yeah, yeah.
is it better to burn it off?
It was probably going to explode anyway. So
Well, with the mixture of chemicals that they have there, is it better to burn it off and get it out of the ground rather than be in the ground and mix with something else?
yeah,
I
send
mean,
it down.
I'm not a scientist. I don't know, but
I don't know
that's
either. Yeah. Send it, put it up in the air and send it down the road, man.
yeah.
Fuck West Virginia.
Let it chase the balloon to China. So,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That balloon shenanigans is a distraction, but
oh,
I don't
most
know. I
definitely.
I don't know from what yet.
Did you see the video where their satellite was over Hawaii shooting lasers down on it, mapping the ground?
No.
Oh yeah, look that up. Like
Okay.
this dude was on top of the mountain where they have the telescopes,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he was videoing. And all of a sudden, this freaking green laser comes from outer space and just starts doing the Matrix thing all over the land, and then disappears. And he has it on video. I mean, like you can look it up on
Whoa.
YouTube.
So what do I type in? Like China laser map of Hawaii or something?
I
Satellite?
guarantee if you type anything along those, it'll come up. So he calls, I guess, because he's part of NOAA or whatever. He
Yeah, yeah,
calls
yeah.
and asks NASA, do you have a freaking satellite up in the space, up in space over us doing whatever? And they're like, yeah, it's probably satellite, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they come back and they're like, no, we at the time that you took this video did not have a freaking satellite. Well, the only satellite that was in orbit above Hawaii at that time was a Chinese satellite, which is also
Wow.
they're saying, yes, it was our satellite and we're doing weather observation.
Wow.
Really? So you have balloons floating around over U.S. airspace, and you have a satellite mapping the ground with lasers, and that's all weather stuff.
Yeah. Those dudes are ready to take over. Like I'm
Better learn
like,
Mandarin real quick.
I'm telling you, dude. Like I was sitting there thinking about this yesterday, or it takes me an hour to drive to if I'm going to Liberty, it takes me an hour to drive there, an hour to drive back, pretty much, basically, 45
Mhm.
minutes if it's a good traffic day. But
Great hamburger
just
place, by the way.
yeah, oh yeah, they the 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 amount of time I have to think about things like this is probably too much. Sometimes I travel and I just don't listen to the radio. And I was thinking about this on Friday. I was like, if they join forces with, like, let's say Russia or just, well, yeah, Russia, like, we're gonna have our work cut out for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, they already own us. Like, we're already in debt, $32 trillion or whatever the debt clock's at now. But like, they already own us.
Yeah, but you know that it's first of all, I'm not scared of Russia in the least little bit.
Yeah, they
If
can't seem to
you
hold their
can't,
stuff together.
yeah, if you can't fight Ukraine, who has no freaking military, and
Yeah,
invade that little piece of crap country that used to be yours, then
yeah,
you can't invade anybody.
right.
And I read Wednesday, I think, that 90% of their military is on the ground in Ukraine now, and they're
Yeah,
not doing.
they've got no, yeah, there's nothing protecting the homeland.
Yeah. So yeah, China, go ahead and be buddies with them cats. I mean, that doesn't scare China scares the shit out,
China scares me too.
and not because we were in debt to them, because I mean, I think their GDP is probably going to crumble if we don't buy crap from them, because I think we're their number one number one buyer of all their crap, and I
Oh
think it's
yeah.
like by 60% to the next person. So
If we could just start making stuff in America again, and just stop buying shit from them, they they would crumble. They got too many people, and they wouldn't have any money to support them.
yeah, the whole thing is just really strange. So I mean, they rely on us for to buy their stuff and to make our stuff.
Oh,
I mean, 90% of their factories are dedicated to crap for the U.S. In some way, shape.
I'm almost 100% sure everything I'm surrounded by was made in China. Like, I mean, like, I don't know that for a fact, but
It's funny. I was watching an episode of Yellowstone, and
oh yeah, love that show.
The guy walked into a store, and he was looking at all this Indian stuff, and he picked this Indian headdress up, and it said "Made in China."
Yep. This says I'm blind, and it's dark in here. It doesn't look dark in here on your screen, but it's dark in here. We got a good well, an okay camera. Then we get the old Sears here.
Made and listening to you from China.
Yeah, it doesn't say sure.com. It probably says it on the device somewhere. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, here's your awesome mic, but we have listening devices built into it.
Right.
I mean,
I have plug it in, the hardware downloads, and now we have a direct line to your house.
Well, I mean, they already do. If you have TikTok or have ever downloaded TikTok, it's already on your phone. Even if you delete TikTok, you're screwed. They can, if they wanted to, listen in on you. And I have TikTok. I have 2 accounts.
Yeah. You can say what you want about conspiracy theories and stuff, but if you don't think that TikTok and Facebook and Google itself and all that crap's not listening to you, have a conversation about a product and then get on Google or Facebook and start 100%. Looking for an ad.
100%. No, they're listening to you and you agree to it. When that long list of shit pops up, you just hit okay because you're I want to get to the thing. Who cares? Nobody reads it. And then the people who do read it pretty much still click okay anyway, because you can't use the app unless you agree.
Right.
And then now, leather pants. I would love to buy some leather pants. So now in a couple of hours, I'm going to have like leather pants on because if you go through Instagram's owned by Facebook. So all my friends who quit Facebook and went to Instagram, it's the same thing. It's just pictures, but
and I can still post stories to your crap. So I mean, I'm still talking to you.
Oh yeah, and the messenger's the same now too. Like it's like all interwoven. But like the now every third picture of your friends or whatever, every third post after that, then it's an ad. And I don't remember it being that way when it started, but man, there's so many ads you're bombarded with, and it knows what you want to look at because, like you said, it's listening to us, and we live in a really weird time. And
they have an algorithm that is dedicated to what you're doing at all times.
Yeah, man. The AI stuff that's going on is like these AIs dreaming or painting pictures. I'm sure you've seen that. Like we asked an AI to paint war pigs, and it's like these pigs wearing army hats and having a cigar in their mouth and like guns over their shoulders. And you're like, holy crap. Or like, if you look up, like everybody do this, type in AI draws demons. That is fucking disturbing.
I, as you know, I'm into cars. I mean, I love automobilia and stuff. Look up AI designs cars.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Like that'll take you down a rabbit hole.
I love rabbit holes. AI designs cars. Yeah, no, the scare. Okay, so here's the thing, and I don't know if anybody else has this, but when you watch like Google Deep Dream, is it Deep Dream or it's like where you see moving pictures and it's basically like Google's thinking but visualized.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like this mind melting thing, and you kind of move through it, and it's like an acid trip. And I recently, in years, right before I fall asleep, like I'm notorious that if I'm at the Liberty plant, I'm taking a nap. I go to my truck for lunch, I take a nap. I don't eat, I just nap because I fucking love naps. I'm my dad's son. What can I say? But like right before I'm about to actually fall asleep, I start seeing pictures and things forming behind my eyes, almost like the dream things coming. And I don't know if I'm just like I took too much fucking acid in high school or what, but like that never happened before. It's just and it's just a new thing now, and it's weird because I watch things morph into stuff, and the only thing I can relate it to is that Google like deep dream or whatever it was called thing where things are morphing. Like you'll see people and then it'll morph into like an animal, or if I'm having a bad day, it could be like a devil, or it could be a lizard or a witch or what. I mean, it could be anything, a dinosaur. And I don't know what the fuck that is. Like, does that happen to you? Like,
Yes.
okay, good. I'm not alone.
Yeah, you're not alone in that one.
I wonder what is that? Is that on your way?
I
You're on
don't
your
know.
way.
I almost think it has something to do with the um something to do with your brain, your eye. You're still awake, so your eyes
Yeah,
are still seeing, but your eyes are closed, and
right.
it's probably trying to think, kind of visualize for you, maybe in color and.
It's like when you walk into, like, have you ever been in like some caverns or a dark cave, and they turn the lights off in there, and they're like, this is what absolute darkness looks like, and your mind just starts, even though
Mhm.
your eyes are open, your mind starts trying to form things. Do you get the you ever start falling asleep and then all of a sudden you're like, ugh, like you just
Oh yeah.
before you fall asleep? So like they call it something. I've Googled it before. I'm like, what, am I the only person that gets this? But it's apparently it's like an instinct thing.
Hmm.
And some people believe it's left over from like when we were monkeys, and so we didn't fall out of a tree.
What the hell?
Like, because if you're sitting up in a tree and you fall asleep, you just fall out of the fucking tree.
Don't fall out of the tree, monkey.
Now I don't know if that's true or not, but it is some type of an instinct thing, and that happens to me a lot. Most of the time, mostly if I'm going to take a nap. Like if I'm going to bed at nighttime, it doesn't really happen that often. But sleep's a fucking weird thing, man.
Okay, well, let me say something. I don't know if I buy into the theory, because it's not a fact, it's a theory still, that we came from freaking monkeys. I don't
Sure.
buy that shit.
Right.
If we
Okay.
came
Yeah.
from monkeys, why are there still monkeys?
Right. It's a good
And
point.
it, we can find fossils of a humanoid species, back, or not fossils, but bones and crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But at some point in time, you would think that we would find fossils of, or something of monkeys, and some type of something in between there, and there's not.
Yeah. There's no missing link. I mean, unless it's Bigfoot. And
And they're like Neanderthal. Okay, well, there's different types of monkeys, so who's to say that that wasn't just a different type of
oh
human
yeah.
species that didn't fricking survive?
Well, and there's evidence now that like that the Homo sapiens and Neanderthals were totally fucking. Like they were interbreed. So like we have you see some humans that look
Uh
a
huh.
little Neanderthalish. You're
Uh
like,
huh.
you're still here. I get it.
Yeah, we need to do a DNA test on you, buddy.
Yeah,
That big ass forehead kind of gives it away.
yeah. Like I know. Like look at the Mayans. Like just like the Mayan depictions of themselves. And I don't know. I haven't looked at a Mayan skull, so I don't. But like the depictions of themselves, they look kind of Neanderthalish. Like they
Right.
draw themselves with a big forehead, big nose, and I don't know if they look like that or if that was just an art style. But
Yeah. What can I draw in a rock?
yeah,
How can I
right, right,
draw? Well, this is
yeah.
it. That's the only way I know how.
Well, they apparently they seem to be more technologically advanced than even like the Egyptians. And like they they had a lot going. They had water pressure. They
Right.
did those guys were crazy, and then they all just vanished.
I just
Wait,
don't understand why there are. If you want to see something really weird,
yeah, please.
Google this shit.
Okay.
Go Google handbag in different civilizations.
Handbag.
Yes, I know it sounds retarded, but Google it and you can see it in the exact same handbag in the Mayan carvings, in the Egyptian carvings, and um, who are the people in Turkey or whatever.
Okay.
Um, yeah, there's like 7 or 8 different civilizations that all carved, into stone and stuff, and it's in every single. civilization, every one of them. And it's not like it's a different bag. It looks identical in every single civilization around the world,
Huh.
all at the same time. And it's like, what the hell is that?
There's just so much stuff that we don't know, and like the what do you not the scholars, the historians, the the people that are controlling the narratives to some of this stuff is like
Mhm.
what, like they won't even if you bring something like that up to them, they'll be like, oh no, coincidence, there's no way. And you can't even talk to them. I mean, it's not just the historians. I mean, you go all the way into like the geologists, the just the different types of scientists you have. That's almost like they've been taught this is the way and this is the only way it could have possibly happened. And for whatever reason, like they won't even try to entertain that maybe this handbag is they maybe everybody was connected all over the world somehow, and they all had the same type of handbag. Like there's somebody was taught, the
Something.
laptop, something like these
Their civilization. Egypt didn't leave. Egyptians didn't leave. They weren't like across the sea seafaring people, right?
right.
So how are there pyramids in Egypt and pyramids in the Mayan culture and pyramids in Mexico and pyramids in
Japan,
5 or 6 other places around the freaking world at the same point in civilization?
Yeah.
I mean, how did they get there? How did everybody decide to design the same freaking thing at the same time?
Yeah, and I think if you like draw a line, but I mean, we're on a sphere, so if you draw a line from any point on a sphere, but I don't know, like if you draw a line from Egypt, like on there's some, I don't, you're gonna catch me saying it wrong, but I think I saw somebody plotted a line from the three pyramids all the way over to the Mayan temples and through something else, and I think it aligns up with some stars or something like that. Y'all have to Google it. I'm probably butchering that, but I do remember seeing something like that, and it was super cool.
Well, don't worry, because most of the stuff I tell you I've read somewhere, and I'm probably butchering it too. So you probably have to go look it up for yourself. But I can guarantee you'll find the freaking handbag thing. It's
Oh,
super
I can't
weird.
wait. Yeah.
Um, some guy, I don't even know. I was probably 12 or 13 years old, was telling me about this, and I didn't give it a second thought for 30 freaking years.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I saw a whole documentary of it on TV. I was like, oh, that dude knew what he was talking about. He was an alley crackhead that was just out off his rocker.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dude, that's so great. I love having this conversation with you. And we're gonna have to save some stuff for tomorrow. Well, no, we don't have to save nothing. This is my show.
Yeah,
We can do
screw
whatever
them.
we want. Dude, I think tomorrow's gonna be a lot of fun. So everybody over here who's listening to this, I'm sure by the time this comes out, Brandon's episode with us will be up and on the expandingreality.com. So you can go check out more stuff with us and some other really cool content creators and authors. And that'll be fun as I'll get out. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Well, actually, not back to what we were talking about, but it's kind of back to what we were talking about. So we mentioned Neanderthals, we mentioned the missing link, and then I mentioned Bigfoot for a second. So there are plenty of Bigfoot sightings in Oklahoma. Like,
Oh, good Lord. There's
like
teams of hunters and crap everywhere.
Yeah, like a ridiculous amount. One time driving down, what is that, Highway 77?
Mm-hmm.
So from where we work to the hotel, there's this, it's the old highway. And I swear to God, I saw a bear, like a black bear. Like, and I didn't think they were that far west or whatever. I thought they were more easterly in Oklahoma, but it was in the morning and I had to go back to the hotel for some reason. And I was going back to the hotel and I saw this thing. It ran from one side, it was right out of some, like a little patch of trees, and it hauled out. It was the fastest. I mean, it was the fastest thing I've ever seen. It was like, boom, and it was on all fours. So that's why it was blurry and black. I immediately thought Bigfoot because that's just the type of person I am. But
Right.
but but it was. I'm assuming it was a black bear, but I wonder how many times black bears get.
I'm not assuming it was a black bear. I'm assuming it was a very large, oversized freaking pig.
Oh, you guys got it. Could have been. It was
Oh,
huge. It was huge.
everywhere. They're,
Really?
I mean, like
Okay.
North Texas and Southern Oklahoma's pig capital of the world. So,
Dude, they were this thing was so big. That's why I immediately went to bear, and it was so fast. I mean, we got pigs out here, but the boars don't get they don't get that big, like they're
and
eh.
it could have been something. I'm not saying it was, but that's where my mind goes initially.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're getting the black bears in Texas, in East Texas, though.
Mhm.
I think one made its way in. Somebody found one in the hill country not very long ago. So, like, I don't know how that happened, but hell, the red wolves are coming back too. So, I mean, it's a very interesting time. It's like we're gaining more people and losing land, but animals are coming back for some reason.
Have
Maybe.
you, side note here, have you seen the video that released yesterday of on Facebook Shorts or YouTube or whatever the crap you watch? Of the lady who had a security camera in her backyard, and this wolf walks on one
Oh,
side and goes behind this freaking truck or whatever's parked there, and you can see its little feet under the truck, and it comes out, and it's a whole different color and a whole different size when it comes out the other side.
what?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I
No,
was
I
like,
have not seen that.
I had to forward and rewind about 15 times. I'm like, I can explain this.
I can't
Maybe I
explain it.
can explain this.
I'm gonna have to look that up too. Um, we were talking. You were mentioned Galveston earlier,
Mhm.
and actually Galveston has a sizable coyote um habit. I don't know, infestation. I don't know what you call it. Population. There it is.
Yeah, we have a
Sizable.
sizable population here too.
Okay, well the coyote they caught a few because they're huge, and they're like, why are these coyotes so freaking big? And they're mixed with red wolves, so they're half wolf, and because they did the whole DNA thing, and it's just on Galveston Island. I don't know how that
Did
works,
you
but
know there's a they call it the intercoastal waterway. There's a little island chain behind a restaurant called Stingrays.
okay,
Stingrays. I'm probably butchering the name. Somebody's going to get mad, but whatever. Anyway, if you're sitting back there eating, you can look across and there's cows on that freaking island.
really, like how the hell did
And
that happen?
they're like, they tell you the story, the hurricane, blah, 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 many years ago, and they left them there. And they're like, yeah, just leave them.
Yeah,
And
they're thriving.
apparently they're thriving. They're like, and it's not a very big island. Or I guess it's pretty long, but it's not real wide.
Yeah.
Cows just walk up and down this freaking island and eat all the time.
Wow.
Hey, I got a good bear story for you,
Okay, I like bear stories.
though. I, again, I lived a bunch of places, and I'm, I have never seen a grizzly or a Kodiak, whatever you call it, up close.
Yeah.
And I was living in Northwest Montana at the time, and we were picking things called huckleberries. Huckleberries are a real thing. If you don't know, they're actually a freaking berry.
I'll be your huckleberry.
Yeah, I'm your huckleberry.
There's a
And
conspiracy theory about that too. We'll get into it later.
and we were picking huckleberries, and the whole town's out here just like it's huckleberry picking season. And there's 100 people out here picking huckleberries in this big thicket, for a lack of a better term, up on the side of this mountain. And this freaking grizzly bear raises its head up in the middle of this patch, and I'm telling you, it's less than 50 yards from me.
Yeah.
I had a panic attack and like wanted to run, and then in my mind, I'm thinking, don't run because that's the first thing they tell you: play dead. Don't do it. And the lady next to me is like, oh, don't worry about him. He's just here eating just like we're picking berries. He ain't worried about you. I'm like, no. I dropped my little basket and I was
Yeah.
down 5 miles of that trail and waited in the car until the people got back.
Yeah, dude. I mean, so like how tall? Like 12 feet tall? Like those things are huge, right?
Yeah, and I was pretty young, so it's probably taller than I can imagine now. But I'm thinking, like freaking 12, 15 feet tall, and
Yeah.
I saw his claws and I was
Wow.
like, oh no, no, I'm out. I don't want to be I don't want to be his next meal because I'm slower.
Yeah. 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 Fuck
I
y'all.
don't
I'm
have to
out.
be I don't have to be the fastest. I just have to beat you.
That's right.
And I was pretty small and I'm pretty sure I wasn't beating anybody. So
I've never seen one up close. I think I've seen one in a zoo or whatever. I've seen polar bears in a zoo, and I think they're similar sizes or bigger. But like, it's always sad to see polar bears in a fucking zoo in Houston, Texas. You know what I mean?
they're like, it's hot here, dude. Send me
Like,
home.
why did you do this to me? um, yeah, zoos. I mean, zoos are cool because you get to go see these animals up close, but also it just sucks. It's like I love my dog Maisie. She's a cattle dog. Love her to death. She's fantastic. She's become part of the family. I can't wait to get a bigger a house with a little bit more land so she can run around. She's got a decent place, but she paces the fence like a zoo creature, because she needs a job. She's a cattle dog. Like she's supposed to
I,
be herding cattle.
I saw this little clip and she was just making fun of her dog. But I was like, wait a second. Her dog goes to the window or and looks outside all the time. And she was like, so you're telling me that the whole reason you're at the window and looking outside is because we kidnapped you from your family and you're waiting for somebody to rescue you.
Aw.
I was like, that's sad. Wait a second. That's horrible. That's probably what they're freaking thinking.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, I got lucky with Maisie. She was, dying at the Liberty plant, and
Right.
so I got her out of the heat and out of all them fleas and ticks. So I think she's a little grateful, but she's also like, I'm so bored.
Right. Well, yeah, and you probably never get all the I want to go find out the next thing out of a dog that's, been on the run or whatever.
Oh
We
no.
found our dog. She's running around here somewhere. We didn't find her. A friend of mine found her and called us, and I was like, I don't want a dog. And he found her on the road and
Okay.
went got her shaved and all that stuff. And I was like, I don't want a dog. So I called Carrie, and we had both kids were pretty young. And we got out of the car, and I was like, look, if this dog doesn't like us, if it doesn't come up to us, we're just not going to get this freaking dog. And of
Yeah.
course, it jumps out of the freaking car and runs, and it's like, oh, my new home, I love you. And
Oh,
now she runs the house, and everything revolves around her.
100%, dude. Yeah.
She's like
It's
7. I don't know how old she is. I think they guessed her at 2 years old when we found her,
sure. Okay.
and we've had her for 12 years, so somewhere in the 14 to 16-year-old
Yeah.
range.
Yeah. Oh, good life. Good life so far. Right on.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
she's
it's
been on vacation everywhere. Been to Galveston, seen the cows.
the my my wife's grandmother, she had a dog called Mighty Mo. And if you've ever seen a picture of my dog JJ, Mighty Mo was the spitting image of JJ. They're the same Chihuahua, or whatever. The exact same dog. And that dog lived to be 23.
Holy
It's a
crap!
crazy. I've heard of cats living that long. I had a cat that lived 18 years, but freaking 23. I guess smaller dogs can sometimes. You got to be in that right. You got to be in that Goldilocks zone. If you're too small, you die after a few years. If you're too big, you die after a few years. But if you get right in that small spot, that's 13-pound spot, you live for a long time. Apparently.
I'm multiplying here on my phone. That's 154 in dog years.
Mighty Mo.
Mighty.
Yeah, he was. That was a. I never met that dog, but yeah, 23 years. That's crazy. A crazy amount of time for a dog.
23 is old for a freaking dog.
It's old for a human in the medieval times. You're like granddad at that point.
Yeah. Why aren't you married? You're 14. You should have 5 kids by
Yeah, have a house and working. The Monty Python movies.
now. Uh huh.
They're all like digging in the dirt and stuff. Like, you're not my king. Um, and I'm glad we don't live in medieval times. I'm glad we have air conditioning.
Oh yeah, dear Lord. I was born in the right time. I promise
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you. I
So
have I have been very, very, very poor and lived in some shithole places
yeah,
with my father that traveled all the time. And
sure.
for a little while, we lived in a camper. And I remember it had And when I say camper, like one of those old 70 pull behind your car camper things.
Oh yeah.
And two of the windows were broke out of it when he bought it, and they had um, plywood or something, screwed on to the
Yeah.
front of it. And we lived in that thing for like 2 years.
Wow. Wow. Nice.
And I remember I don't remember if we were in northern Oklahoma or Kansas, Wyoming. It was one of those weird places. And I remember going to sleep in the camper, and my bed was right up next to the wall. And my butt froze to the wall.
Oh my God.
Like I woke up crying. I was like, I'm stuck to the freaking wall.
Oh my. So like you sweat in your sleep or whatever, kind
Yes,
of, and then
exactly. And my butt came out from under the cover and it freaking froze to the damn wall.
oh my gosh.
What's funny is I don't talk to my dad very often or whatever, and he vividly remembers that. Like he makes fun of that all the time when I did talk to him.
I mean, it is pretty funny.
I
Like,
mean, it wasn't for as
it,
traumatic.
it was probably not funny to you when it was happening, but like to me,
Makes for a
listening
great
to it
story now.
now, yeah, now it's great. I just problem is now I'm picturing your butt frozen to the wall of a camper.
I mean, it's great now, but I mean, I think it might have been Wyoming because it was dead of winter and it was like so cold, and
Had to be
hated
right.
going outside.
Yeah, it had to be, man. That it gets so freaking cold up there, dude. And the weather's, man. Speaking of cold, like the weather's doing some weird stuff up north. Like
Mhm.
85-mile-per-hour winds blowing off the Rockies, and then down here it's like 80 degrees.
I talked to our plant Noah up there, and he was like, "Oh, you coming up this week? It's minus 18 degrees, and there's 11 inches of snow overnight." I'm like, "No, no, I have no need for that bull crap.
Not happening, man.
I escaped the north and came back to the south, and I'm not going back up there unless I'm forced."
See, I think that like I'm at an age where I still love the cold. But I don't love the cold. I don't love cold. I like 50 and 60 degrees. Like that's where I want to live. In my life, I'm cool with that's my favorite temperature because I get to put on a jacket. I get to put on a blanket, at a thicker blanket at nighttime and get to cuddle up with the wife. I like that kind of cold. But when you start getting up into Wyoming and it's -3 and
Hmm.
it snowed fucking 12 fucking feet overnight and you walk out and you can't see the doorway anymore. I don't think that I would really enjoy that on a regular basis.
No, I have been in places where it was the normal thing to drive a snowmobile to school because there are no roads anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, no, I don't think I was built for this weather. And 50 degrees where you live and minus 10 where they live, because it's so dry up there, is about the same freaking thing. And people don't understand. They're like, it's a dry cold. And
Yeah.
Carrie can attest to this. We went to New Mexico one time, and it's snowing, and we went up there to ski, or watch our friends ski and stuff. They had a house
Yeah.
up there, and you just have a jacket on.
Yeah.
And here at 40 degrees, you have an undershirt, an overshirt, a shirt over that, a jacket, and gloves. And yeah, I don't much care for cold in Oklahoma because of the humidity level so high.
Sure. Right. The guys from Provo, I can't remember exactly which ones they were, but I've heard the story. Like Darren Wilson came down and Mark Peterson came down and I don't know, maybe some others. They came to the Liberty plant and they looked at the weather and they were like, "Oh, it's only going to be 46 degrees." Like that's
Yeah,
fantastic. They're like, "That's great." And they came down here and they were like, "Holy cow." And they froze their butts off because that humidity gets in underneath your clothes and you're just like, yeah, I mean 40, 50 degrees with this humidity it's very cold. It ain't
yeah,
the same.
wherever I was in the world at the time, or in the U.S. at the time, I would come back to Oklahoma during the summer times and sometimes spend summers with my grandma that lived here in our.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I got on a Greyhound by myself, which was probably stupid. You wouldn't let your 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid get on a Greyhound and come to Oakland.
Right.
Um, I remember it was a 3-day trip, so it had to be quite a ways away, Washington State or Virginia or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And I came down here, and it was minus 20 when I left there.
Oof.
And I got here, and it was 43 degrees, and it was misting outside. And I thought it was like the worst freaking thing in the world till my grandmother got to me and picked me up. I was like, I don't have enough clothes for this weather. And I
Yeah.
came from the freaking Arctic.
Right. Yeah, you thought you didn't pack warm enough. You thought it was going to warm up when you got down south. All right, Ted. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I can't wait for tomorrow's show on Expanding Reality. Everybody, go check out I'm a Little Otter at Amazon. And is there any place else they can get it?
Currently, no. But
Okay. Amazon.
breaking news, Target picked it up.
Really?
I signed the stuff for Target a couple of days ago, and they still have to decide if they're going to carry it or not. But I signed their stupid contract.
Hey, that's
I guess
awesome.
we'll see that.
So maybe coming to Target soon. But
Yeah.
for right now, Amazon, all the links, Ted, will be in the description below. Ted, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait for tomorrow's
Thanks for having
episode
me.
on Expanding Reality. And I hope you'll come back to the show and we can chat some more because we always have such great conversations.
Anytime, brother.
All right, man. Well, everybody, this has been the 13. I'm your host, Ryan 13. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, evening, night, whatever. See y'all on the next one. Okay, cool.
The government records me all the time. I don't care.
Yeah, the government, China,
Alexa.
Alexa. Oh, dude, Alexa picks up on things. It's crazy.
I know, right?